There's a dangerous link between high blood pressure and high blood sugar, 3 in particular. And high blood pressure and high blood sugar are usually thought of as separate things, and there's a reason why, because they are, but they are related. Here are 3 dangerous links. The first is that when you get high blood pressure, there's simply more pressure inside the arteries. Duh. That's the definition of high blood pressure. But what ends up happening is this. As the blood is going through the vessel, think of sugar as little razor blades inside the blood vessels. Now, this is an analogy, so I'm not saying they're razor blades, but they act as razor blades. And what the glucose does, or the sugar, is that it will nick the inside of the artery. That's called the endothelial lining. And when it does this, the body wants to try to remedy it by patching it up using LDL cholesterol. Now, this is the part that sucks. The LDL cholesterol will build up inside the arterial wall, and the hole where the blood goes through, the lumen, starts to cave in and get smaller, so it becomes stenotic. This is where, when the doctor has to put in a stent, they're opening up the blood vessel where it's clogged up. So this is a function of how a high blood sugar also contributes to high blood pressure, and how high blood pressure will exacerbate a high glucose. The higher the glucose, the lower nitric oxide production. And nitric oxide is a gas that's developed on the inner lining of the artery. And when this gas is reduced, then the blood vessel cannot be compliant or cannot expand with each heartbeat, thus increasing blood pressure. The second dangerous link is that fluid will accumulate in the body if the kidneys have been damaged from diabetes. The kidneys control the fluid retention in our body. And if the blood vessels are damaged in the kidneys, then the kidneys can't do their job. Fluid increases, pressure increases. Starting to suck, huh? The third problem is insulin resistance. With high blood sugar, eventually you become resistant to the insulin that your body's trying to produce. So your body is trying to use insulin to get the sugar into the cells. The cells are resistant, the blood sugar rises, and now this is the definition essentially of insulin resistance and its relation to type 2 diabetes. But that same process is the same process that can harden the arteries as well. So those are the 3 dangerous links, but there's a reason for this. And that is that both high blood pressure and high blood sugar are ultimately caused from the same thing. It's improper diet. Our diet plays a major role in controlling our blood pressure and our blood sugar. Now, there are extraneous causes. There could be causes such as adrenal gland problems, and there could be something in your family where people tend to run high. There could be exercise that can influence your blood pressure. It can also influence your blood sugar because exercise will lower your blood sugar. But ultimately, it boils down to the diet. And so blood sugar problems and blood pressure problems both have the same ultimate cause. Usually the person is eating highly processed foods, high sugary types of foods, and that leads to the problem. So the solution to both, for many people, is a simple change in their diet to eating at home, not eating fast food, eating non-processed foods instead of processed foods, staying away from high sugary types of foods like sodas and candies, and eating more natural foods like vegetables and fruits and lean meats, that type of thing. Now, there is some confusion though, that people will sometimes, instead of saying high sugar, they say high carb. And then they realize that, well, vegetables and fruits also are primarily carbohydrates. That's not what we're talking about. When we say get rid of sugar, we're not saying get rid of carbohydrates. We're talking about get rid of crappy food that involves sugar. If you're eating a Snicker bar, some people will say that's the same thing as eating broccoli. That's not true. Broccoli has many nutrients in it, many minerals, many vitamins, a lot of fiber. Snicker bars don't. That's just the way it goes. Oh man, sometimes making these videos make me laugh. So hey, you wackadoodle, why don't you subscribe to the channel and stop just watching my videos? It helps the algorithm and it makes me rich. You're supposed to be watching the entire video. If you watch the entire video, then why aren't you subscribing? You should just subscribe. And then there's a Patreon. You should just send me money too. I mean, I'm not doing very well here at YouTube. You think this is real? This sunset? This is a picture. Actually, it's the real thing. This is my sunset from my office every single day. I think I'm living the dream. Still, you should subscribe.